Although the unemployment rate rose, job growth came roaring back in June, crushing expectations. Hello, this is Bruce Steinberg of www.steinbergemploymentresearch.com reporting on June 2016 U.S. employment trends. The Current Population Survey, or CPS, but commonly known as the Household Survey, reports the June unemployment rate rose to 4.9% due to some relatively large movements with some of the metrics that are used to calculate the unemployment rate. First, the size of the labor force expanded by 414,000 in June. It contracted by almost 460,000 in May. Second, there were only 67,000 more employed persons. Third, the number of unemployed persons rose by almost 350,000 in June. It declined by more than 480,000 in May. And fourth, there were 191,000 fewer people considered as no longer in the labor force. There were 664,000 more in May. In other words, a lot of people moved into the labor force, but a relatively small number of them were able to secure employment. So there were more unemployed persons, and these movements resulted in the unemployment rate rising. The results from the Survey of Businesses, officially the Current Employment Statistics Program, or CES, but more commonly referred to as the Jobs Survey or Report, showed an increase of 287,000 jobs in June. We do not like to revisit bad news, but May's job number of up only 11,000 in the current report was worse than the weak 38,000 job increase initially reported last month, which even accounted for more than 35,000 striking Verizon workers. The private goods producing sector was up 9,000 jobs in June, and that was a nice change from the decline of 41,000 in May. A year ago, in June 2015, this sector was down 3,000. And after eliminating 16,000 jobs in May, apparently the construction sector decided that was enough and was flat in June. And the story was familiar in mining and logging and continued its decelerating pace of cuts with a loss of only 5,000 jobs in June after declining by 9,000 and 11,000 jobs in May and April, respectively. Regardless if the striking Verizon workers are factored in or out, the private service providing sector was quite strong with an official increase of 256,000 jobs compared to growth of only 35,000 in May. A year ago, in June 2015, the sector was up 226,000. Once again, we are seeing something strange going on with the retail trade job numbers, which reported an increase of almost 30,000 in June. The abnormality is with the May number that was revised in the current jobs report is up only 3,000 after being initially reported as up more than 11,000 jobs in the previous jobs report. The professional and business services sector added 38,000 jobs in June. That was more than double the growth of 18,000 of May, but half the growth of 76,000 it experienced in June 2015. Job growth in computer systems design and related services abruptly slowed with growth of only 1,400 in June, which was well off the pace of more than 10,000 in May. However, management and technical services, which is only two-thirds the size of computer systems design and related services in terms of the number of jobs, added 6,000 more jobs in June on top of an increase of more than 7,000 in May. The education and health services sector added 59,000 jobs in June, with almost all of the growth attributed to its healthcare and social assistance subsector, since the highly seasonal educational services subsector was essentially flat with growth of only 400 jobs. Home healthcare services continued to help with 4,400 more jobs in June than May, which was up 6,400. And we are also seeing something strange going on with the numbers in the leisure and hospitality sector that added almost 60,000 jobs in June. The large increase in June can be explained by strong seasonal hiring. The squirrely part is with the May number that was revised in the current jobs report is down 3,000 after being initially reported as up 11,000 in the previous jobs report. And the total number of government jobs was up 22,000 in June after gaining 17,000 in May. In June, the federal government was up 2,000 jobs, state government was up 3,000 jobs, and local government was up 17,000 jobs. The roller coaster known as temporary help services continues not to disappoint with a gain of more than 15,000 jobs in June. And the initially reported loss of 21,000 jobs for May in the previous jobs report was trimmed to a loss of 19,000 in the current report. In June, there were 2,902,300 temporary help services jobs, which was a 0.5% gain from May, but only up 0.6% year over year. The year-over-year growth has been declining fairly consistently since the beginning of 2015. And temporary help services was able to regain some market share, that is, its portion of all jobs, and is now 2.01% in June, more precisely 2.013%, from May's 2.0% or 2.006%. But that's still a far cry from the end of last year in December 2015 when it was 2.06% or 2.0567%. Although the unemployment rate rose 0.2% in June, that can be seen as a good sign since the number of people looking for a job or who have a job, that's the labor force, jumped up because they felt good about their prospects. Unfortunately, not too many of them could find a job yet, so the number of unemployed persons rose. But employers, after not generating many new jobs in May, came roaring back in June, and that's good. This has been Bruce Steinberg, and this is just a brief sample of the employment data and analysis we provide.